You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be firstly speaking to Laurie, and she's going to be telling us all about Love Sheppey. Firstly, thank you very much for coming along and joining us.
No problem, Daniel.
Well, I was wondering if perhaps we could start off by you telling us a little bit about yourself.
I'm an artist that lives on Sheppey. I've been here since I was 4. I studied ceramics and glass at Buckinghamshire, and then went on to teach for 18 years, whilst I was sort of making commissions for friends and family. I tend to concentrate on ceramics, but I've started to move out into mixed media and assemblage a little bit more now.
Well, of course, you're coming here to talk about Love Sheppey, so I was wondering if you can tell us what is Love Sheppey, if that's all right.
It's a one-day event that's we sort of designed to showcase professional quality art and craft from Sheppey and the surrounding area, or work that relates to Sheppey, alongside some of our natural and cultural heritage organisations.
And I was wondering if you could tell us how long has it been going, and how did it actually start?
We started last year when the idea started to form in my mind early on in the year, when I would usually get my work together and supply it to a shop in Whitstable and a gallery in Polperro. And I stopped and thought that I wanted to show Sheppey's creative quarter on Sheppey. Unfortunately, on Sheppey there aren't any full-time professional exhibition spaces or galleries, so there was no natural place to go. So I looked around for a venue and thought that Barton's Point would be a great place to exhibit. It would really show the connection between my work and that of many other artists to the environment in such a great natural space. So I approached Mandy Shade, who runs Barton's Point, and she was really encouraging and offered me use of the park straight away. Obviously this posed another problem. As you know, the winds on Sheppey can be quite strong, so to put art and craft at Barton's Point I needed a marquee to safely exhibit the work. After a few weeks of looking around Sheppey, I met Chris Reed of Big Fish Arts, and she straight away again offered me use of their marquee, which started to make me think that the event day could be possible. The next challenge was to try and get an audience to come and see the show, and with no money to spend on advertising, I came up with the idea for the Love Sheppey X stones. I then spent hours and hours writing Love Sheppey X onto over 2,000 stones and started to put them out at night in areas that I hope would get noticed. So I put them on the routes to the schools, outside shops, along all the beaches, outside the community centres and churches, at Barton's Point, at Elmley Conservation Trust, absolutely anywhere I could, from Shellness to Rushendon, in the hope that the community would notice them and start to ask what they're all about. Thankfully, for me, Sheppey has a really strong community base, and it took less than a week for someone to write to the Sheerness Times-Guardian asking if they knew what the stones were about. And then they printed a story about them. From there I started a Facebook page, Love Sheppey X, and posted a hunt for numbered stones which were put into a prize draw at event day. And the Sheerness Times-Guardian ran an exclusive Love Sheppey X stones picture for 4 weeks before they exclusively revealed what the stones were all about.
So when and where is Love Sheppey this year?
It's at Barton's Point Coastal Park. It'll be on Saturday the 23rd of August, that's the bank holiday Saturday, and it'll be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And I was hoping you could talk a little bit next about the artists, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. The artists I just found by digging around Sheppey, really, asking people who they knew, and making connections between people. The community on Sheppey were amazing. They led me from one artist to the next. They led me to more marquees, and all the practical things that I needed to make the day happen. And after I'd sort of started placing the stones about the place, again a friend passed me a magazine, What's on Where, Wow magazine, that the editor mentioned that there were some possible grants for creative events from Test Ideas, Creative People and Places. So again, from a friend passing me something on, it led me to getting a grant from Creative People and Places, which meant that I could then pay for flyers and posters and banners. The Sheppey community were amazing. Everybody asked, all my friends and family who delivered all 10,000 flyers and erected and took down 8 marquees and supported me throughout, and the farmer at Cowstead Corner who let me put the banner up in his field, and Tribune Graphics who sponsored some of the graphics, and all the creative people that I met around Sheppey all wanted to make the event happen. And what Love Sheppey X showed me is there's loads of creativity on Sheppey, and there's loads of love for Sheppey as well.
Now, I noticed on your website you've got a section called Views of Sheppey, and I was hoping you could sort of briefly tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. When I set up the website, I wanted to show some of the amazing views that I had seen whilst I was placing the stones around Sheppey. Because I'm Minster based, I tend to see the sunset in Minster and think that is cracking. I'm so lucky to live here. But my journey placing the stones took me to the opposite ends of the island. I saw the sunset in Rushenden, which is just amazing. The sunset from Warden Bay and Shellness, places that I wouldn't usually be at that time. And it just reignited my love for Sheppey. And I wanted to share some of those pictures, so I posted those up on the web page too.
I was wondering next if you could let us know how can people get involved?
Yeah, sure. Anybody that might like to exhibit this year at Love Sheppey, that's artists and craftspeople, natural and cultural organisations. You don't need to be a full-time artist, so long as your work is of a professional standard. A lot of the exhibitors last year aren't full-time artists, but they make some cracking work that would look right in any gallery in the country. We're asking you to contact us at info@lovesheppeyx.com and send along a brief description of what you do, a couple of images of your work, any links to any websites you might have, and we'll get back to you in due course. You can also look at our website, lovesheppeyx.com. Keep up to date with things on our Facebook page, Love Sheppey X, and there's a Twitter account at Love Sheppey X.
Well, before you go, I was just wondering if you could refresh our listeners where and when Love Sheppey is this year.
Yeah, sure. It's on Saturday the 23rd of August at Bartons Point Coastal Park in Sheerness from 11 till 5.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for coming along and telling us all about Love Sheppey this evening.
You're welcome. Thanks for letting me look around your great radio station.